Welcome to episode 46 of Winging It. Long Ball FC. Very long ball FC by the look of the stats. We're back after a week off, so we'll recap the Liverpool match later before getting into a bit of Forest and rummaging around some England information. I've got Albert Curley drinking a can of Camden Hells.
Second one of the night.
Oi, oi, oi.
One for last week, one for this week, isn't it?
Yes. I've got a Club Tropica from Friends of the Pod, Tiny Rebel. Not sponsored this week.
They're not your friends.
Anyone who gives me free beer is my friend, but not free this week. This was purchased from Sainsbury's. Oh, lovely. Hesketh.
Don't get us confused. What an
I
insult.
must say, I've got into the CBD drinks, mate.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yes.
They're pretty good.
They're not bad.
But we were having a conversation at work the other day because we sell them in the shop downstairs. And it was like, I got one open, got to my desk at my office job and cracked one open. And then I was like, hang on, what's the rules here?
We're gonna have to change this. We're gonna have to change the name of this podcast to Pranging It.
Rules are fine. It's fine. It's fine, I reckon.
I mean, we do sell alcohol in the shop as well, and I wouldn't be allowed to crack one of those open at the desk. So,
I was in an establishment that will remain nameless, where on the drinks menu it had alcoholic drinks. Then it was like the cocktail section. Then it was the low and no alcohol section. And then there was a section called functional.
What's that?
Well, it turns out you two are partial to a functional drink.
Oh.
So I guess it hasn't got alcohol in it, but it does serve another function, which is to get gangster tripping.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's just chills you out.
Clearly, Hesketh's wearing his cap back to front.
I am. It's my Winging It cap, though. Not that you can see, unless you're still behind me, but it is my Winging It cap.
Right, the big news outside of Palace is that Thomas Tuchel has been announced as the new England manager. Know how much Hesketh loves international football, so he'll have a lot to say about this. Any puns you want to get off your chest, Albert?
No, can't think of any.
Am I going to have to do it?
No. Don't. I'm still puffed out from the last time you played it.
For the listeners, we were listening. Albert said in the build-up, Tuchel played that game, which led us to playing the Bobby Brown song. And Albert started getting up and doing aerobics.
It's a good aerobic tune.
What he doesn't realise, what he does, because I told him, is that I've got video recording on, so he's going to have to pay me a pretty sum to not release that video.
£70 an episode. £70. All I'm saying is I look forward to hearing the England brass band absolutely murder that over the next, 5 years? Is that what his contract is?
18 months.
Oh, is that it?
To the end of the World Cup.
No, fair enough.
Hesketh, as you always like to point out, you're not an international fan. However, did you see the back page of the Daily Mail?
I did.
Calling it a dark day for English football.
Yeah.
As they employ a German in big block capital letters.
It's mad. Like, yeah, I don't really care, but all the people that are getting annoyed about it are the people that annoy me. So to that end, I quite like the appointment. I think it's quite good.
Yeah, I dropped that screenshot of the back page of the Daily Mail with my German family group and just watch it explode.
Entschuldigung.
But, I mean, interesting appointment. Albert, he won the Champions League with Chelsea.
Yeah,
good in tournaments, knows what to do, or like cup competitions at least.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's always weird what translates into a good international manager. No one would have, when the Southgate appointment was made all those years ago, nobody would have gone, oh yeah, he's going to take us to all these, latter stages of several competitions, because Gareth Southgate's reputation to that point, based on a very short managerial club career, was no good, essentially, not sounding horrible. Tuchel's obviously got a bit more of a pedigree at club level and European clubs, but fuck knows what he's like as an international manager. So, yeah, could go, like most things, go one of two ways, won't it?
Yeah, it's obviously Carl, who comes on the pod every now and then, as he goes England home and away. As much as he says he's trying to cut back, he still was in Finland the other day. So, but yeah, he was saying that he's just disappointed that it wasn't. They've had a long time to plan for it, and then they've just sort of done a sticking plaster for 18 months as opposed to actually, get someone in there long term. Is his thoughts on it, and obviously more inclined to listen to him, considering he's one of the ones who does spend good money to go home and away. So,
do you think there's any other outstanding candidates?
Well, I mean, the two obvious English candidates would have been Eddie Howe or Graham Potter, and neither of them are really blowing you. I mean, fuck me, I could not take it if Graham Potter won the World Cup for England. It'd be sort of simultaneously one of the best days and worst days of your life, You wouldn't know how to cope. And Eddie Howe, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say.
One report I read said they approached Pep Guardiola. I mean, really?
I mean, it would have been quite a coup, to be honest.
Yeah, of course. I just can't see it. I can,
Yeah.
Can never see that
international
unfolding.
football is different to club football, and there's probably not drastic, but there's going to be different skill sets involved and so on, and to actually, quickly manage to get people to rally around you in short spaces of time, and then get the best out of them in short bursts and so on. Is yeah.
He might have stood a chance of getting a decent England performance out of Phil Foden. Maybe that's what they were thinking of.
Yeah. Well, but I don't know. It I guess historically speaking, it is a bit. If you go back to 1950 and tell English people that a German will be managing a national football team in the future, they'd probably be a bit surprised. But the Daily Mail talking like it's still 1950 was probably not a surprise. Let's be honest.
I'm sure there was a time way back in history that they were quite fond of Germans. The Daily Mail.
Allegedly, or is that proven? I don't know. We'll say allegedly, just for the zero lawyers that are listening.
Yeah, can't wait to receive a lawsuit from the Daily Mail from the 1930s. Be like Back to the Future when he comes up at the end with the telegram sent from the past.
Well, Thomas Tuchel becoming England manager is less of a hard sell to England Daily Mail readers than the new bold Crystal Palace range will be to Crystal Palace fans, to be honest. It's we've done it again. We've apparently employed someone at the club to make good merchandise.
When do they start?
Hesketh, do you want to describe it? You don't need to look at pictures. You can just say it's shit.
Yeah, it's shit. It's shit. I've seen two lots. One of them is like all black, and it says, I think it says CPFC in like weird neon writing. And then the other range, which looks like it's got 1861 written on it, which I don't like, is like green and white. It's just crap.
Like a hoodie, and the CPFC is just above the pocket on the hoodie by the belly.
Yeah,
it's just like
You know those when you get those adverts on Instagram, not those ones, Albert, where it's like, T-shirt printing or, print a picture of your dog on this T-shirt or whatever, and it's just a blank T-shirt and they've photoshopped some shitty logo on it. It just looks like that. Like I'm sure you could print that yourself for like £5.
Yeah.
Not that I'm like a big fashion guru or whatever, but it's not very good, is it?
I'm just looking now. No, it's not from unless 1861 is how much it costs. I'm not interested.
Even then,
86 would be more close.
Even then, I'll wait for the sale. Thanks.
And you just do see a lot of this stuff just end up in the sale. I don't know. I guess there must be people buying it.
Do they still do the end of season? But back in the day, there was always like just boxes of shit in the car park, which is probably where the fan zone is now. It was like end of season stock sale, and it was like all the 5XL shirts, third kit or Angola kits that hadn't been sold. Do they still do that?
If you go in the club shop, there's a rack.
Yeah.
Like they've got all the new shirts and then some sort of tat, like beer coaster or whatever, book, gnome, that sort of thing.
Crystal Palace chocolate bar.
Crystal Palace chocolate bar, exactly. And there's a rack in between that of 5XL. Right.
Chocolate bars?
Chocolate bars.
I think for all the seasons that he was here, Mamadou Sakho took a lot of it for his charity in Africa. So,
the chocolate?
No, all of the...
It had a long shelf life. It had a long shelf life. Why are we getting rid of it?
all of the not Lego Crystal Palace Stadium replicas.
Oh, nice.
Don't tell Darren Ambrose. Whatever you do.
Or else we'll just when you renew your season ticket next year, the free gift that you get will be a snood or something.
Yeah, one of the Monopoly sets that's about 4 years old and
a bobblehead of James Tompkins.
Snoods can come in handy. A friend who shall remain nameless ended up getting caught short in a toilet which didn't have any toilet roll, and used his snood to save the day.
Fair enough.
Pooed on a snood.
Poo on a snood.
What an image!
I'm letting it marinate.
I hope you've got a good segue out of that one.
Anyway, bold range, anyone?
Yeah, talking of shit around your neck. Henderson made his first England appearance in several years, and Mark Gay made his 20th appearance. And thankfully, both of them missed the Greece game, which was a bit of a debacle. Did either of you see it?
No.
I saw most of the Greece game, which then meant that I had no interest in watching the Finland game. So...
Well, it was nuts that Greece had the ball in the net 5 times and they didn't need to be offside for any of the other goals. Like, it would have made zero difference if they held their run a little bit because no one was getting near them. It was just laughable. But thankfully, Henderson and Gay nowhere near that team. So,
how did they do in the game they played?
Henderson barely had anything to do. Finland just got a free man at the near post from a corner. There was nothing he could do about it. But not much for him to do.
Did any of them come on in the Greece game? I know I've just said I watched the Greece game, but they didn't. Didn't come on. No. That was a shocker.
Yeah, and Pickford had a bit of went walkabouts a couple of times. Never really looked like saving any of the goals.
No.
Cole Will, despite saving Pickford once, who was in for Gay, was at fault for their second goal. Certainly,
As the old saying goes, beware Greeks bearing down on goal.
Very good. This week, I went to the women's game at Sutton to see Crystal Palace women hot off the heels, rather, should I say, of their 2-0 victory against Leicester. What? Heels made you laugh, did it?
No.
Albert.
But yeah, brilliant 2-0 win at Leicester, getting them off the mark and get them a quarter of the way to that magic 12 points that they're required to stay up.
Did you see the goals from that game?
Yes.
Our first goal was fucking great.
Yep. I mean, it was obviously a really tough start to the season in terms of the opposition. But yeah, Leicester, one of the ones you're going to have to target to try and get points from. To get 3 points from Filbert Street, no, Walker Stadium. What they call that place these days?
King Power.
King Power. Okay,
Yeah.
Definitely not Filbert Street. Saw Padovano score his only Palace goal there.
Oh jeez.
Filbert Street.
Was that last week?
No. But then Brighton, I hadn't realised how much they'd invested into it. They got Frank Kirby and Nikita Paris playing for them. I was like, oh, Jesus, this is... but Palace more than lived with them for the game. Really unlucky. The strange decision for the Brighton goal. Palace goalkeeper definitely has a collision with a Brighton player and spills the ball from the cross. And a tap-in makes it 1-0, and that's the only goal of the game. Both goalkeepers making some fantastic saves. But I think they're going to... I think after watching them, there's going to be games where they're just going to get trounced because the disparity between the top and the bottom is obviously huge. But, they don't look like a terrible team by any stretch of the imagination. So the day as a whole, there was a fan zone at Sutton, which had a decent DJ playing some old school house and garage, which was nice.
Very good.
They blended out of Glad All Over into
Bobby Brown?
Rewind when the crowd say "Ball Selector" by Craig David, which was some impressive DJing. I liked it.
It's not bad going.
Yeah. Albert's tried to.
I'm desperately trying to make that one work, but I just can't hear it.
It worked. It was really good. Little football pitch, like face painting for the kids as well. It was like, it was a decent day out.
Just for the kids?
Can't see it being a decent day out if the weather's not holding, though, to be honest. So, not very covered there.
Talking of being outside, how did the marathon march go for Mr. Ford?
And sister.
Yeah.
They were finished in 8 hours. They were done and dusted by 4:15.
What did we do it in?
I don't think we got into like 5:30.
Surely not.
Yeah, we were much longer.
Hesketh dragging us down.
Wow, you lot fucked off and left me alone. Well, you didn't leave me alone. I was with Vanessa, who's going to be listening to this. You didn't leave me alone. I had great company. We were just taking in the sights of East Croydon. It was great.
Yes. Yeah, but no, like apparently it was a bit. It felt tougher though because they reversed the route from last year, which meant all the hills were at the end, which is obviously not ideal. Really, you want to get them out of the way sooner, but yeah, because they made such good bloody time, I couldn't meet them at the finish line because I was still out and about, not expecting them to be back yet. So. Yeah, but I think 80k ish has been raised. Mm-hmm. Still, that number's still climbing up, which basically means we have to feel guilty because I think fundamentally what we raised last year is the difference between what they raised last year and what they haven't raised this year. Imagine it. So,
oops,
it's all on us. But
well done to everyone who did it though.
Yeah, well done.
It was raining a bit as well, wasn't it? Which we were quite lucky with last year. So right. Well done.
Shout out to the Minions, as apparently they kept getting called on their walk around in their yellow shirts. It was very Stockport 2001 inspired. It looked like the shirt, yellow and blue.
Made of sandpaper.
Wait, those TFG kits, mate. Quality wise, they've stood the test of time.
Yeah, because they're
There'll be a nuclear apocalypse and there'll be cockroaches and those CFG shirts. That's all that'll be left.
I don't think that's a sign of quality.
Durability, at least.
Yeah. Fucking burlap sacks.
But yeah, I mean, get yourself down to a women's game at Sutton if you can. Decent day out. Definitely get to the ones that are held at Selhurst. Got to get those numbers up as and when they hold it there. Like Arsenal and whatnot selling out their stadium when the women are playing there. So we need to at least get above 10k at some point in Selhurst. But hopefully they'll survive and establish themselves in the WSL like we have, the men's team have in the Premier League. We'll recap on Liverpool a little bit. No, it was a little while ago now, but didn't chat about it after because we didn't win. We didn't do a pod. Now, wasn't that disastrous, really, was it? Momentary lapse in concentration allowed them in early to score. But after that, I think it was full of half chances for Liverpool. One good chance for Jota that he headed wide. But other than that, I thought we defended pretty well in the first half, and then changes in the second half made a big difference. But I've joked around before, Hesketh saying that maybe Michael Elise made Munoz look like Cafu.
I knew this was coming.
Any idea of being able to explain what he was thinking for the Liverpool goal?
You asked me that the preview of Liverpool, and I was like, no, don't be silly, he'll be fine. And then when the guy got in behind him, I was like, Yep, definitely going to be hearing about that. I don't know. Everyone not everyone. He seemed to be a bit flat-footed. It was just I think it's one of those where you can look at the goal and point your finger at a few people. Certainly Munoz is one of them. To be honest, I haven't watched it back, but I don't know if Gay could have put his foot out and stopped the cross coming in.
Yeah, very weird how he just lets it go across him.
Because he sort of looks like he was motioning to do it and then didn't. But then I'm like, was it going too quickly? I feel like he got it and then just, Chalobah let Jota go across him. So sort of each little bit of the goal, you're sort of thinking, well, it's easily stoppable. We could have cut out any of those things and come away with a draw. But it's all a bit academic, Munoz, isn't it? Because he got injured and went off anyway. Which is a shame.
Yeah. Any news on how long it is for him?
No, on his Instagram, he's in the gym doing all sorts of shit. But I think that's just his. I think he melts if he doesn't do that. I think he just collapses. So
technical term.
Yeah. Listen, I've never been in a gym in my life, Albert. I couldn't tell you what he was doing. Push up.
Not doing all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
He's not wearing a snood, is he?
He might be.
Chalobah obviously at fault for the goal. I think he could have, if he was a bit more awake, maybe he could have prevented it, Albert. But what did you think of his performance as a whole?
Yeah, I missed the first sort of 10, 15 minutes, but sat down to watch from that point onwards. And I thought, like you say, I thought we played all right. I thought he sort of settled into the game. I think as we did as a whole, really. And I think, we'll talk about I was sort of on paper quite happy with the starting 11 and obviously the change up top. But I have to say, as the game progressed on, when we flipped back and Mateta came on, it was we improved even more. So that's kind of annoying in a way because you're sort of, we've all been saying maybe Mateta needs a rest, but he has come on and put himself about and drastically improved the performance. But I don't think Chalobah looked out of place. Obviously, he looks a little bit rusty. New team come back from injury. But yeah, that's the sort of performance where, okay, we've lost to Liverpool. Liverpool are flying at the moment. We haven't been beaten, and we've given a good account of ourselves. And I think that's, in a way, it's sort of you can make a case that it might be our best performance of the season, even though we came away empty-handed. Yeah,
we arguably got the starting 11 that everyone's wanted, that everyone's been calling for to a man, effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the big problem with getting any effectiveness out of Nketiah as a number 9 was kind of nullified really by the way the midfield pairing was again, and no one really getting near to not Baron Greenback, Gravenberg. Gravenberg, I think that's his name, in the midfield for Liverpool, and they just, for the first hour, he was just allowed to do whatever he fucking wanted.
Yeah.
And as a result of not being able to get near him, we just couldn't really get anything out of our front three to make things happen. And I think that fundamentally changed when Will Hughes came on for Adam Wharton. And I know I talked a few episodes back about how I thought Adam Wharton was best player on the pitch, and you disagreed with me, Hesketh. I think this was one game too far in terms of he was way off with so many passes and they didn't even make sense. It was just like you was looking at the areas he was passing, and it was just like there's only Liverpool players there. Like I can't even see what you're trying to do. He looked tired. Players run past him quite easy. He's been pulled out the under-21 squad again. It's definite. I think it's. Would you say it's time for a rest? Would you put him out there against Forest, or do you just it's got to be a Hughes and Lerma midfield, hasn't it?
Yeah, he's definitely not fully fit. I mean, you could tell that all season really so far. I think he needs a rest. Whether the 2 weeks off between Liverpool and Forest is enough, I don't know. But Glasner's made a point of talking about the injury quite a lot and saying, he's a young kid, he's growing. You don't want to risk his body as he grows into it, sort of thing. And we've seen with Johnny Esther when he came through, he got kicked up in the air a bit and kept playing, kicked up in the air, kept playing, and he's that messed him up big time. But I agree that when Hughes come on against Liverpool, he really changed the game for us. I thought he was excellent. He got stuck in, won the ball higher up the pitch, got the ball moving to the wide players better and the forward players better. And we'd really missed that. Like we hadn't really done that in the first half at all. So I think there's a lot to be said for him and Lerma starting the game against Forest, because it's not a game we want to be passive in. I think we have to be on it straight away, because every game now is big. You don't want to come out of the second international break of the season without a win, which we're doing. But to have Wharton come on as a side might be a really good option for us if we want. If we're ahead and Forrest are pushing up a bit, and you can bring him on and ping a few passes behind him, that might work. But yeah, he's definitely not fully fit, and unfortunately, it's been quite obvious in a few games this season, really.
Yeah, and as you say, Will Hughes came on and he really got amongst them, and it reminded me. I think it was against Liverpool that he did it as well, when he played Hughes behind the striker just to. Hodgson, wasn't it? Just to harry and hustle them. It might not have been Liverpool, I can't remember it was, but it was definitely one of the top teams. And it kind of worked for about an hour and a bit. But yeah, he really changed it. Didn't let the midfield of Liverpool settle, and we started harrying them into mistakes and had a flurry of chances, which we managed to find straight at the goalkeeper on each occasion. And Nketiah, Eze the first time, stings the palms, but his final one, Albert, he just gets it all wrong and curls it straight into the keeper. I know Hesketh's like rocking there. He's just still so pissed off with Eze that he can't get over it.
It's all coming back.
Yeah, but finishing boots not on yet again, Albert.
No, not again. It's a good move, and it's one of those chances where you have that. You're almost, you're halfway up your seat because you think, here we go, we're going to stroke this in. But yeah, that's sort of Eze's luck at the moment, or that's just his form when it comes to putting the ball in the net. We've had a nice one a few weeks ago, but they are the exception at the moment. It's a shame, because again, you sort of look at it and you think nobody really begrudged us if we'd have come away with a point. I think based on our performance in the latter stages of the game.
Yeah, it's like the second game running where if Eze takes his chance, it's we get something more out of the game. Worth noting that he did win goal of the month for his goal at Chelsea. Was it the only goal we scored? I
was going to say, was that the Crystal Palace goal of the month?
I think I don't even think he was nominated. His Chelsea goal for Premier League goal of the month because there were so many bangers in that month. I think Duran for Villa won it with his. Was it against Everton? I think it was when they won 3-2 against Everton, wasn't it? Beating Everton would be nice, wouldn't it? Fair to say Mateta came on and changed the game a bit. Now, in the morning, my son woke up, he's 2.5, and he was just like, I want to see Mateta.
Don't we all?
I was like, okay. So I was like putting on Match of the Day. He was like, no, I want to see Mateta. And I was like, what, in person? He's like, yeah, I want to see him. I want to see him. And I was like, okay. So I did something I haven't done since I was a teenager and went and hung outside before kickoff, like a few hours before kickoff to try and see him. And I did. And he was pissed off, like visibly pissed off. Like you could he just wasn't, I was expecting a very like lively, bubbly Jean-Philippe Mateta that you're used to seeing all the time. And he just had a grump on. And it was like straight away I was thinking, I bet he's not starting. I bet it's going to be Nketiah up front. And it did turn out to be that. But it was a good performance when he came on from him. A bit more life to it than arguably there's been in recent weeks. And do you reckon, Hesketh, it's sort of the kick up the arse maybe he needed?
Yeah. What, you going down to the ground?
Yeah, being berated by your 2-year-old son.
Yeah. Pull your fucking finger out.
He's very excited whenever he sees the picture, bless him, my son. He did have a really good time, so fair play.
Yeah, fair play. It definitely, he needed to kick up the arse. I don't think he's been horrible this season, but much like the rest of the team, we've not really been on it much at all, for a whole game. And I think when he was in his sort of purple patch end of last year, everything that we did turned to gold. Like he'd swing a boot at it, it would go in. He'd make a run, he'd skin a player and smash it top corner. This season it hasn't happened in that way.
Do you not look back at that and just think, it was Johnny Evans? Now with hindsight,
yeah, maybe
actually it was Johnny Evans.
But yeah, I think he did give him a kick up the arse because when he come on against Liverpool, I thought he was really good and he was doing the things that he hadn't really been doing over the past 5 or 6 games. So yeah, I think the good, we've talked about depth a lot this season, and I think it helps to have options. Last year, I guess we'd bring on Edouard, and it wasn't really working for him. But I think if you can have Nketiah and Mateta, much as it seems like Glasner wants to have both of them playing and forming a partnership, if one is starting and the other one's coming off the bench, you're not going to be annoyed at the one coming off the bench because it's going to be a quality player. So yeah, I mean, hopefully it does give Mateta a prolonged kick up the arse, which is, I'm sure, what Albert would want to give him. Because we need him, we need him firing. We need someone firing. And it's certainly not Eze at the moment. So hopefully it can be JP.
Albert, were we denied a penalty unfairly?
I hate to sound like I've still got the little club. If it was at Anfield, but if that was at Anfield and it was the other way round, they're getting the penalty. It's, I can't think what they said on the, because it was so long ago now.
A bunch of bullshit. That's what they said. A bunch of bullshit.
No, they said it didn't. What was the summary?
It didn't impact.
It did hold him long enough.
He was holding him, but it wasn't a significant or extended period of holding or some fucking nonsense like that, which is absolute shit. It's not. Like, like often, in the melee of when a corner's first coming in, somebody might literally do a split second grab on a shirt or something. Like that's a momentary grab, but he's like fucking trying to rip his arm off. Like it's to say, listen, if we don't think it's a penalty, great. Whatever, we don't think it's a penalty as a collective, but to say it wasn't a significant period of whatever the fuck that summary was, nonsense, absolute fucking nonsense.
Do anything for a quick grab, to be honest. He yanks his arm, which throws off Gay's body shape and doesn't allow him to impact play. So I think all of the sentence or the paragraph they put together on the Twitter account where they share the information about the VAR decision is utter nonsense. You can still say you don't think it's enough for a penalty and maybe he wouldn't have got to the ball or so on, but write what they wrote down in that tweet is ridiculous.
Well, he's not impacting play. Yeah, because he was fucking fouled.
Yeah.
So it's a penalty. And like Albert says, you don't want to be the whiny, blah, blah, whatever. But if it doesn't even have to be at Anfield. If that's Gay on Jota, that's a penalty. They give that a penalty.
Well, we've seen that in the past.
I was going to say that Jota penalty from a few seasons ago, like the softest shit I've ever seen.
When he levelled our goalkeeper and then got a penalty for it.
Yeah, ow. that's not quite Texter.
Benteke as well got a dodgy penalty, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, don't. He was the absolute scum of the earth. Scum of the earth. How dare you be fucking ashamed of yourself. You fucking disgrace. 6 weeks later, you got Benteke. 30 mil, bosh.
Christian Benteke, who is currently top scorer of the MLS with 23 goals.
Vindicated. Thank you.
That's 5 more than Luis Suarez has managed, and 6 more than Lionel Messi.
Thank you. Apology accepted.
Bring him back on loan in January.
Yeah.
Do we have first option?
Don't know, but weirdly though, despite being top scorer, I think his team are actually quite far down the league. Actually, yeah. Not very good. They're in 17th position out of all the teams, so not really going well for them this season.
Need to shore up that defense.
Defense.
Yeah.
Defense. Palace man of the match.
Fucking hell. Can't remember.
Lerma. I thought Lerma was on one. I thought certainly for the first half. I thought he looked good, and I'd like to see Lerma and Hughes at the next outing, please.
Yes, please. I think Gay had a good game.
I thought Lacroix was all right again.
Lacroix was all right. Grew into the game a lot more, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
It's mixed with his passing.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about that now in terms of how we've called the episode Long Ball FC after all. There's the other 14 Twitter account which looks at Premier League stats excluding the top 6 clubs, and it's accurate long passes in the season so far, and Mark Gay tops the chart on 42, which is 10 more than the next player down, who's shit. Zabarnyi for Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And also, just point a note, 14 clear of Joachim Andersen for Fulham. But then Maxence Lacroix already appears on this list with 23, and he obviously missed a few games at the start of the season, so he's probably on pace to catch up with Gay at some point. And Adam Wharton on 21 is also on the list, and we're the only team with 3 players on the list. So that's a lot of long balls. Can this probably be level towards while we're not very good at creating chances and scoring goals?
Well, I think it points to how important it is for our wing backs to be in the game. You know, because we need. I think last season, again, not to harp back on this purple patch we had, but our wing backs were like fucking 30 yards from the opposition goal rather than in their own half, and always an option, always hugging the touchline to get these passes. Whereas now, I don't think they're as far up. So these long balls. I mean, it says accurate long passes. Obviously, that's quite a vague thing. But like, I don't think they'll be as far up the pitch as they were last year. You know, there's still a lot of work to do once they collect the pass. Whereas last year, you know, if it goes to Munoz, Elise's there. If it goes to Ty, Eze's next to him, that sort of thing. So, yeah, I think... obviously, I don't know because I haven't seen it, but I would like to see average sort of positions in the game coupled with that to see where these accurate long passes go to. Because I reckon they'll be a lot further back than they were last year.
Yeah, and there's been suggestions going around now that from in the nose that Glasner is considering a formation change.
To what?
Go on, Albert.
Say it. I know what you want to say.
I know what I want to say.
Do you don't think that 4-2-3-1's in the Austrian vocabulary?
Yeah. 4-2-3-1, please. Been saying it for fucking weeks.
4-2-3-1. Eins. Shit.
Jager now. I've said it. I'm bored saying it. That's what we need to play there.
But who's, again, as I said, we've signed a lot of centre backs. Who's your centre back pairing?
The two best ones.
Rob.
It's a simple fucking game, football, isn't it? Pick your two best centre backs. One of them's Mark Gahey. Dealer's choice on the other one.
Well, it's probably Lacroix based on going to have to be what we're seeing.
Yeah.
And then I suppose suggesting that Chalobah offers competition to Ty as left back.
Yeah, that's a vibe.
Would you think that would work better for Kamada? Because I know he's obviously been slagged off a lot as a 10, just as a straight up 10. Or does he not get in the team, even in that formation?
I mean, I'm still. I haven't left the back line yet because I'm just trying to picture Munoz in a 4. To be honest,
I know.
But I suppose you create the extra cover by having Lerma and Hughes on there, and then it's whether then you actually have it as Wharton, Eze, and Sarr as your more advanced 3. Take a bit of that responsibility off of Wharton as well to have to be in and about it defensively. He presses quite well high up the pitch. But then there's also Kamada, scored against Saudi Arabia in international break, so he's got the world at his feet.
It's going to be a big weekend. No, it's not. Monday. Shit.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Could arguably end up being more of a 4-2-2-2 if he wants to get Nketiah and Mateta on the field at the same time. And then that way you do play one of Eze and then one of Sarr or Kamada in behind, then a Lerma and a Hughes or a Lerma and a Wharton or something like that, and then the flat back 4, which again gives a bit more freedom for the fullbacks to get forward because there's a whole spine of support that can pick up the shape if they go out of it. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if a formation change does materialise, but Liverpool performance when Hughes got on the field was much better. So I don't think there's any need to abandon it just yet. It's just finding the right balance and him working out what his best 11 is, what his best 11 players is having on the pitch at any time. I don't think he quite knows that yet. And yeah. So it's Forest on Monday night. So God knows what happens at the other fixtures by then. Could we be bottom of the league by the time we play?
Leave it out.
Let's have a look. Because we can't be far off of it, right? What are we?
No wins.
No wins. So, yeah, if Wolves and Southampton win before we play,
They're not playing each other by any chance, are they?
Nope. Southampton play Leicester, so got to beat Iron that up as a win. But Wolves are hosting Manchester City, so I also think Wolves are pretty shit.
Yeah, they've not been great at all. But
when do they get their first win of the season? When do we play them?
We're playing them in a couple of weeks, aren't we?
Stop it, for God's sake.
Excellent. But yeah, so it's Forest. Now, at the time of recording, Morgan Gibbs-White is classed as 50-50 for them. And the only game they've lost this season was when he wasn't on the pitch, when he was suspended after his crazy tackle in whatever game it was they were playing. So yeah, he's 50-50. So obviously, ideally he'd be missing, and then I think he makes a big difference to Forest. But again, it's the age-old conversation of, do we just go and play our own game, which is what Glasner wants to do, or go and try and stop Forest? I mean, they haven't won since they beat Liverpool, and that was over a month ago now. So whilst their start looks good in terms of a healthy position in the league and so on, they're still, lacking in any serious results in recent weeks. This is me clutching at straws, Hesketh. How am I doing?
Yeah, I mean, they've
but we haven't won any games this season. Gibbs White will play because he just will. Branthwaite came back for Everton for a fucking game against us and then got injured again. So Gibbs White will play. It's just hard because we should play our own game. I think we're capable of beating teams. But it's like we've said, this season has been, that we're not able to string together a full game of being good. We can do a first half in this game and a second half in that game. And the problem is, we're having chances that we're not taking, and then like against Everton, we give up two shots and we lose the game. So I think we should go and play our own game, to be honest with you. But the longer, obviously, goes without saying, the longer it goes on, the more stressful it is, and the more people talk about it, and the more he gets compared to fucking Frank de Boer. I don't know. We should play our own game.
Yeah,
and we should.
Do you know what? Looking at their results, you're absolutely right. We should. Opening day, drew with Bournemouth 1-1. Yeah. Beat Southampton 1-0. Southampton's only point is against Ipswich this season. They drew 1-1 with the aforementioned terrible Wolves. They obviously get the standout result against Liverpool at Anfield. Drew 2-2 with Brighton. Whatever. They lose to Fulham at home 1-0. So, and then draw 1-1 with Chelsea. We managed that. So, easy 3 points, Albert.
Yes, I'm not going to disagree with you on any of that.
Comeback starts here.
Yeah.
I never said we were going to win, by the way, before this comes back on me and my reputation is ruined.
What's the score going to be then?
Albert, you go first.
It's going to be 1-1.
1-0 Forest.
Come on, big man. Come on.
0-0.
He's absolutely welched.
No, 2-0 Palace.
Whoa.
No. I think 1-1's the most likely score, to be honest. I think same result, wasn't it? What it was last season, we draw 1-1 there last season. Mateta.
Yeah.
And Chris Woods for them.
Yeah, it was Chris Woods, yeah.
A game for the big men.
Yeah, exactly. Good touch for a big man. But yeah, looking forward to it. At least it's Monday night. We can enjoy the weekend, not have the weekend ruined.
No, just the entirety of the following week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's your lot for this week. Thanks for listening. Going to do a little bit something different this week, and I was at a gig last week, and met a Palace fan at the gig, came over, listened to the pod, and it turns out he is an artist that makes his own music. So we're going to play one of his songs, give him a little bit of promotion, free promotion. He's got a new EP just come out. His name's John Taylor, and he goes by the artist
From Duran
name.
Duran?
It's not John Taylor from Duran Duran. Goes by Gaslight Messiah. Good name. And the EP is called Back to Basics EP.
I thought it was a craft beer. I thought you cracked open another beer.
And the song we're going to hear is called Product Placement. So Gaslight Messiah on all of the Spotify's and Apple Music's and all of that. And if you're into it, the new EP will be out on vinyl. Sales links will be going up on soon through his socials. So yeah, enjoy. And until next time, back to Palace.
Circus now, follow the bread, misled, spoon-fed, look ahead, prepare yourself for the daily dread, unsaid, but never unread. You're the product, not the consumer, you're the product, not the consumer. You're the product, not the consumer. You're the product, not the consumer.